Good morning, friends. The chemical thermodynamics. In this topic, the today's point is the expression for pressure volume, that is the PV type of the work. In this expression for the PV type of the work, it contains the expression for the work done in isothermal and irreversible process. These processes are irreversible. Consider a certain amount of the gas at a pressure P, volume V1 and temperature T enclosed in a cylinder of area A, fitted with a frictionless, movable and rigid piston. This consideration as shown in this figure. As the gas expands, it pushes the piston upward through a distance d against the opposing force F. This is the force, and this piston is present at the volume V1. If the external pressure decreases and internal pressure increases, then the piston moves in an upward direction there through a distance d. In this case, the opposing force is greater than this external force, that is the external force is less as compared to the internal pressure. From this expression, we considered the work done during the expansion is given as, in this case, the work done equals to the force into displacement. In symbolic form, this work done is represented by the W, force is minus F into distance D. This negative sign indicates there is a pressure, internal pressure. This is opposing to the external force, and therefore external force decreases, hence negative sign indicates there is a decrease in the external force. This negative sign signifies due to the expansion, the internal energy of the system decreases in doing the work, but the force equals to the pressure into area. But force equals to the pressure into area. Therefore, F is equals to the P external into the area. This is equation number 2. From equation 1, substitute this value of the force F equals to the P external into A to this equation 1 we get. Therefore, the equation is observed. W equals to the minus P external into A into D. But we know that this area into distance equals to the change into volume during the expansion, and this change in volume is given as a delta V. Therefore, V2 minus V1, this is the delta V. Area into distance equals to the delta V, and delta V equals to the V2 minus V1, where this V2 is the final volume while V1 is the initial volume of the gas. Substitute this value of A into D in this work done equation equals to the V2 minus V1. Therefore, W equals to minus P external into V2 minus V1. Therefore, work done W equals to the minus P external into delta V. This equation is for the PV type of the work. This PV type of the work is also called as a mechanical work. Then, in this case, if this value of the V2 and V1, depending on these values of the V2 and V1, the value of W is determined. There is some conditions, that is the sign conventions for the expansion and compression when V2 is smaller than the V1 and V1 is smaller than the V2. There is a sign conventions show for the expansion. V2 is greater than V1, hence W equals to the P external. V2 minus V1 is negative and the work is done by the system on the surrounding. In this case, the expansion is takes place, therefore value of V2 is greater than the V1, therefore this value is positive, V2 minus V1 is positive, but minus P external, this negative sign indicates there is a work done is negative and work is done by the system on the surrounding. In case of the compression V2, there is a volume, initial volume is V2. When compression is takes place, then compress the system to volume V1. Hence, this difference is negative. V2 minus V1 is negative. But due to this minus sign, this work done is positive and the work is done by the surrounding on the system. Work is done by the surrounding on the system. Then work done is positive. From these two sign conventions, work done is negative when work is done by the system on the surrounding, that is the expansion, and work done is positive when system is compressed. At this time, work is done by the surrounding on the system. Today we have seen about this pressure volume type of the work done, that is the mechanical type of the work done. This point is important for the HSC board examination for 2 marks, and the sign conventions are also important for your competitive examinations or for the solving the numericals. Thank you.